Geopolitical analysts have long viewed the map of South Asia as a fixed landscape, but a growing movement suggests we are within a decade of redefining the borders of the entire region. The shift centers on August 11th. Baloch activists have declared this their Independence Day, carving out a territory from Pakistan they claim was never legally theirs. The objective is to secure formal global recognition as a sovereign state. This declaration is the start of a specific strategy, a plan to force the international community to acknowledge a territory that most of the world currently ignores. The path to that recognition begins with the conflict on the ground. Reports from the region detail frequent military crackdowns and human rights violations against the local population. To counter this, organizations like the Baloch Voice Association have moved the dispute to an international level, submitting human rights reports to the United Nations. It is an attempt to break a specific kind of global silence. While crises in Gaza or Iran draw immediate reactions from international celebrities, the situation in Balochistan rarely enters the global conversation. By documenting these violations at the UN, activists are trying to turn a localized military suppression into an international crisis that the world can no longer overlook. The legitimacy of this movement rests on a historical claim. The activists chose August 11th because that date holds a meaning that actually predates the existence of modern Pakistan. This vintage photograph shows the leadership of the Khanate of Kalat. On August 11, 1947, this organized state formally declared its independence. Historical research, including the text Muslims Against the Muslim League, explores how the region's integration into Pakistan was contested from the very beginning. That independence was short-lived. Following a military intervention, the leadership was pressured into signing an instrument of accession, a forced annexation that activists argue was illegal. The result was the absorption of a territory defined by these rugged mountains, a region rich in natural resources that, if independent, could have sustained a high per capita income through trade with its neighbors. The movement is now using this historical memory to argue that Balochistan is not a breakaway province, but a sovereign territory currently under occupation. There is a precedent for this kind of shift. In 1971, the world saw the creation of Bangladesh, a country many thought was an impossibility only a decade earlier. But that transition required more than internal will. It required the direct support of a regional power. For the Baloch movement to succeed, it needs a similar level of external state backing. If regional powers like India, or nations with significant influence like Israel, were to offer recognition, it could trigger the broader diplomatic support needed from the US and Europe. The strategy is now focused on finding these partners, nations willing to challenge existing territorial claims in exchange for a new geopolitical alliance. Beyond diplomacy, there is the question of identity. A new country needs a culture that the world can see and recognize. This is where soft power comes in. Activists are proposing the creation of a Baloch 11 cricket team to compete in international leagues, using the visibility of global sports to build a national brand. It is a way for the population to see themselves represented separately from the Pakistani state, building a distinct national identity on the world stage. The success of this plan depends on regional stability and shifts in US-Iran relations. But what began as a historical grievance has evolved into a clear strategy for statehood, ensuring that Balochistan remains a central question for the future of the region.
If you value clarity over chaos, explore more on Clear Lens X.